Welcome to the Seminary Now course on crisis counseling, working with individuals after tragic events. I look forward to being with you over the next several sessions as we consider how to help individuals who experience crisis or traumatic circumstances. Let me tell you the story of how I became involved in the crisis trauma counseling field. In July 1995, my wife, 4 children, and I arrived at our church parking lot in inner city Fort Worth to the sound of multiple gunshots, which appeared to be coming from the edge of the parking lot. We hurried our kids inside the church as police, ambulance, and fire units began responding. Throughout the day, we heard church members talking about the event and how frightened they were as the event was taking place. Since it was a busy day for me, I didn't think much more about what had taken place that morning. On the news that evening, I saw a picture of the shooter and heard details about the event. At an apartment complex just across the street from the church, the shooter had killed 3 children, had wounded their mother, 2 Good Samaritans, and also the first police officer on the scene. It crossed my mind that the shooter looked familiar. The next morning, I called the church to offer my help. They told me that the shooter was a maintenance security employee of the church. He lived in the apartment complex behind the church where the shooting took place. He was also active in a citizens patrol group in the local neighborhood. The man had been a babysitter for the children he killed. When one of the children told their mom that the man was molesting them, the mom said that she was going to notify the police. The man then loaded his rifle, came to her apartment to attempt to kill her and the children. The church also told me that the older 2 children had been to Sunday school, to vacation Bible school, and the week before the shooting, they had attended the church's day camp for children of working parents. I asked the church if there was anything I could do to help. They said that the church counselor had retired the week before the shooting and was on vacation. The minister told me that any help I could provide was appreciated. This led to 2 to 3 weeks of intensive counseling with staff members who worked with the shooter, with children's workers who had the 2 older children in their classes, and other church members who were impacted by the shooting, including parents whose children were traumatized by the event. We also worked with the community groups like the Citizens Patrol Group, of which the shooter was a member, and we offered free counseling services to those living in the apartment complex where the shooter lived and where the shooting had taken place. Being involved in this event led me to evaluate the field of crisis and trauma counseling, especially from the perspective of how can churches, ministers, and Christian counselors best help those who have been impacted by crisis events that have taken place for them. Similarly, I wanted to know how churches could respond to larger-scale disaster events that take place in the church and in the surrounding community. These are the types of issues that we will ponder in the upcoming sessions. Why is it important for Christians, for counselors, and for those in ministry to be prepared to deal with crises of this nature? Let me suggest a few reasons why preparation for crisis ministry is important and even crucial. Doing so demonstrates care for others. Doing so reflects God's character. Doing so is what we are instructed to do. In Galatians 6:2, we are instructed to bear one another's burdens. In Luke 4:18 and 19, it says, "The Spirit of the Lord is on me because He has anointed me to preach the good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to release the oppressed, and to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." Through this type of ministry, we may come in contact with those whom we would not otherwise have a chance to impact. We can be a part of pointing others toward true or ultimate answers in the midst of their struggles. Those who do counseling and are involved in ministry will deal with crises. These may be smaller in scope, perhaps only involving an individual. On other occasions, they may be much larger, impacting a family. There will be some instances when crisis can involve an entire church, a segment of a community, or the whole community. Knowledge of what to do when confronted with the crisis is essential to being effective in ministry. Commonly, counselors or ministers will do the best they can in crisis circumstances. In some instances, this can be helpful and beneficial to those undergoing a crisis. In other instances, however, lack of knowledge will result in the counselor or minister actually doing harm in a situation, adding to an already burdened individual or family. This course is designed to help you gain knowledge and information about how to work with individuals, families, and groups of individuals who are experiencing crisis and traumatic circumstances. It will provide you with some basic knowledge about the nature of crisis and trauma events and how these events impact individuals. It will provide you with skills to utilize when meeting with people following difficult circumstances. The course is designed to be practical, including things to do and not do after tragic events. And just a word about what this course is not designed to do. This course is not designed to teach you everything you need to know to be effective in working with individuals during or following crisis. We will cover a wide array of basics related to dealing with crises, and the material will be based on my book, Crisis Counseling, a Guide for Pastors and Professionals, published by Kriegel. In my book, you will find more detail about everything covered in these sessions, real-life examples of many of the things that we will discuss, and various handouts that you are free to use in counseling sessions. My hope and prayer is that this course will increase your effectiveness so that you can convey God's love to many, many individuals undergoing difficult, painful, and confusing circumstances.